Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of South Park, Skank. So, I overall thought this was a very strong episode from the season premiere, though there was kind of one joke that was going on through it that I thought went on a little bit too long, but overall I really enjoyed the episode. So, it starts off continuing that Skank Hunt 42, Kyle's dad, is still going on and kind of upping his game a little bit as it progressed through the episode, where he's going and continuing to put dicks in people's mouths and writing horrible, nasty comments to people. And it affected one girl so much that they did a scene and it looked like she killed herself, but in actuality she had just quit Twitter and thrown her phone into the river. And it goes to show how social media really gets nasty sometimes to the point where people just have to quit it because it's hard to deal with that shit. And it was weird to see everybody's kind of reaction. All right, let's just do all this good stuff after the person has quit Twitter. They're like, oh, let's all tweet good stuff about it. Mr. Mackey and then like, okay. And the commentary of like how social media has almost taken the presence of real life stuff and just kind of like taken over and blown it into just this weird freaking beast of a thing to where it's a big event when someone quits Twitter or quits their social media entirety. And it's like, oh my god, it's this whole thing is up. Like, oh crap. And it was a really good commentary on that. And I'm like, alright. The thing that got tiring though was when they had Scott keep saying that he was going to quit Twitter and all that. And it's going into like stuff about suicide and all that. And everybody trolling everybody and bullying people. And it was just like, okay, it could have been done once or twice and been done, but it kind of goes on a little bit longer where Scott actively just pretty much dogging Mackie, and Mackie's like, he gets to a point where he gets really fed up with it. And it was kind of funny at first, but then it just kept going, and it's like, okay, we really don't need this. So then we kind of get more into what's going on in school, and that the girls are getting really fed up, and they're getting ready to take action, and the boys come up with a kind of preemptive maneuver to try and stop this war from coming, or what's going on, and they still believe that Cartman's the one. And granted, throughout the show's history, you would be pretty much correct in assuming 9 times out of 10 that it would be Cartman, but in this case, they're wrong. So they devise a plan to take him to this cabin in the woods, and you think they're gonna kill him. And you know that they can't kill Cartman. He's one of the central linchpins of this show. Because if you did that, you're losing a great character who does a myriad of things for a myriad of different reasons, and just, he is the voice of some nasty, stupid shit, and without that, it would really kind of just change the show. So what they did was they just broke all of his toys, and Cartman had the typical Cartman reaction. He's like, don't break my stuff, this is like 2 Christmases and a birthday, and it's like, he's just thinking about this stuff, and then seeing him, like, to take out his electronics and bury him, and they're like, alright, it's done. And, like, Kyle's still having issues with this because he's usually the voice of, like, reason and justice in the group, and it's like, this wasn't right. So they get back into school, and they see, while this is going on, we're seeing how Kyle's dad kind of does what he does. He just goes throughout, listens to Boston, drinks, and just frickin' gets into a troll zone. And it kind of shows what you have to do and deal with these trolls, and that they frickin' blast all this hate and everything, but if you try and do something about it, no matter kind of what the attention, you are feeding the troll and just gives him more fuel to do what he wants to do. Like, seeing how everybody's reacting, telling him to stop, saying that they will not quit, and even like people who are just acting like assholes to him, it just feeds that, and it's he takes that negativity and it fuels him, and it's just interesting to see that. And he's talking to, of course, his wife and to Ike, and as we're getting into it, we kind of start seeing some of his motivations, and that he's thinks it's interesting that he's taking something that you wouldn't think is funny, and that in and of itself makes it funny. And I think a little bit of it is Ike looks up to like YouTube and internet people, and I think this is also kind of a way for Kyle's dad to connect with it a little bit. I don't think it's the main part. I think he just mainly gets his jollies off with pretty much trolling all these people in this way. It's like, it gives him a power that I don't think he's had before, because usually in the show, he's not the one that's usually in a position of power like this. And I think he really likes it. So, after the boys take out Cartman's electronics, they come in and they see that Skank Hunt 42 is continuing on. They're like, we got the wrong person? And it's like, oh my god, what's going on? What's going to happen? And then we also get other kind of things that are going on as we're seeing the member berries put prominently, talking about Star Wars and everything. But I wonder what is going to be going on more with them, because as anything in South Park, it's usually more than meets the eye, and it's usually more of a nefarious thing than a good thing. So, the girls have had enough with all this stuff that's been going on with Skank Hunt 42 and decide to launch their retaliation, and all the girls break up with all their boyfriends. And that was a big thing, and I'm like, that's kind of not right. I mean, yes, you're trying to do stuff and take out these trolls, but you've got to fight in a warfare way that's kind of different. And they're all just assuming that it's like one of the kids at school. They even had a thing in the beginning where it's like, how to tell if your child's a troll. And it's like, you can try and figure out if it's a kid that's a troll, but what if it's an adult? I mean, you're thinking that a troll can only be like one kind of person in this group, when it could be someone who has no relation at all with these people, and that's kind of what gives Kyle's dad the perfect kind of avenue for this. He's a parent of the kids, so he can have access to those message boards and then just kind of grow his like hate influence throughout everything. So the girls have broken up with all their boyfriends, even Wendy and Stan, and I think the kind of shitty thing that Wendy put on there, even though she had reservations doing it, was that she can't fix Stan. I'm like, dude, yeah, he could be immature and do some stupid shit sometimes, but I mean, you've seen that these boys have been trying to stop this. I mean, yeah, at first they thought it was funny, but after they saw what all the girls were kind of going through, they're like, we gotta stop this. Something bad is gonna happen. And of course it was unleashed. And I really kind of liked how they did it, because it had a kind of Game of Thrones-esque style to it, with like how the music was playing and everything, and all the boys were crying after they were broken up with. So it's gonna be interesting to see the repercussions of this, and what's going to happen, since this obviously will not really affect Skank Hunt 42 in the way that the girls are hoping for, because he's outside of their influence at the moment. They're targeting the wrong people. So when that continues, how are they going to escalate? What are they going to try and go to? What's their game plan after that? And in fact, what's Kyle's dad's game plan going to be? This is going to be an interesting kind of an interesting war here, as well as the boys are trying to figure out before the girls do something that they're going to regret and completely blow the situation into South Park craziness. So, those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.